Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Young, one of your co-moderators, and I'm a member of the UU meeting of South Berkshire in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. My pronouns are he and him, and I am a white man with gray hair, glasses, and a blue and white shirt. During this General Assembly, speakers will be introducing ourselves with a visual description. We do visual descriptions to help enhance the experience of attendees with low or no vision. We will also be sharing our pronouns. This is to help all of us refer to each other by our correct pronoun, and I use he and him. As we begin this fourth general session in our final full day of business deliberation together, I want to pause for a moment simply to thank all of you. Thank you for all your presence, your patience, your thoughtful engagement, and your willingness to stay with the important work of discernment over these past days. The work of General Assembly is not always simple. The questions before us can be complex. The choices can require careful reflection, and our democratic process asks much of all who participate in it. And yet, this is one of the ways we live our values together. The care delegates have brought to these conversations, the willingness to listen across differences, and the commitment to thoughtful participation are powerful expressions of our shared democratic life as an association. This work is never perfect, and we aren't finished. Let's continue with this care as we move through the AIWs and responsive resolutions today. As your moderators, Kimberly and I know there are moments when we could do things more clearly, more smoothly, or more wisely, and we are grateful for your grace as we continue learning alongside you. Part of the strength of our covenantal democratic process is that it invites all of us, delegates, leaders, staff, and moderators alike, to keep listening, keep learning, and keep growing together. Thank you for helping make that possible. I now call to order the fourth general session of the 65th General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association. This business agenda includes, in the following order: opening words, update on the results of the ballot from General Session 3, update from the GA care teams, a discussion on actions of immediate witness, a break, responsive resolutions, music, process observation, closing words, and announcement and recess. And now here's Trustee Gail Forsyth-Vale with opening words.
I'm Gail Forsyth-Vale, and I use she/her pronouns. I'm an elder white woman with chin-length brown and gray hair and glasses, wearing a top with spring flowers. I'm sharing a prayer for this gathering, written by Leila Ibrahim and published in Bless the Imperfect. Dear God, Spirit of connection and creation, bless this community gathered in hope and love for our world, for one another, and for ourselves. We gather here longing to create a more connected and more just world. Help us to speak our truth with respect. Help us to listen with love. Help us to be patient. Help us to be forgiving. Help us to know that here, as in all human endeavors, mistakes are inevitable and perfection is impossible. And oh yes, remind us not to take ourselves too seriously. Amen.
My name is John Simmons, and I serve as your UUA Secretary. I'm a member of Murray Unitarian Universalist Church in Attleboro, Massachusetts, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a Black man with gray hair on the sides. I'm wearing eyeglasses and a plum-colored shirt. Here are the results of yesterday's General Session 3 ballot. For the action of immediate witness, defend against the assault on environmental protections, public lands, rules, and the endangerment finding, 98.4% of the votes were cast in favor of adding the AIW to the final agenda. 1.6% of the votes were cast against adding the AIW to the final agenda. Based on the votes cast, the AIW is added to the final agenda. A total of 879 votes were cast, including 11 abstentions. For the action of immediate witness, all eyes on Delaney Hall, vigils, songs, and support outside ICE detention centers across America in solidarity with those on hunger strike, their families, and their supporters. 86.6% of the votes were cast in favor of adding the AIW to the final agenda. 13.4% of the votes were cast against adding the AIW to the final agenda. Based on the votes cast, the AIW is added to the final agenda. A total of 879 votes were cast, including 11 abstentions. You can always access ballot results online by using your smartphone camera or a QR code reader app to scan the QR code on your screen, or at uua.simplyvoting.com. Thank you.
And now, please welcome Kim Diana Connolly with an update from the GA care teams.
Good day, everyone. Afternoon is starting here where I am in Kentucky, but I know many of you are joining us from earlier time zones. I am Kim Diana Connolly, a member of UU Amherst in New York and CLF, a member of the UUA Board of Review, and for today's purpose, co-lead of the General Assembly's care teams in this year and lead of our wonderful Covenant team. I'm a white, upper middle-aged woman with long, dark blonde hair. I wear glasses. I have my lovely Covenant team's background, and I'm wearing a t-shirt from my home congregation that has Jet Pig on it. I use she, they pronouns. On behalf of all of the care team members, I hope you are having a meaningful and nourishing general session. I'm here to share a very brief care team report. Our biggest news is that we have not received many attendee emails at all. We sometimes refer to them as tickets. We take that as a hopeful sign that people are doing the important work of staying in relationship with one another, finding support when needed, and caring for themselves and their communities on your own. So thank you. Thank you for paying attention to Covenant, to community, and to your own well-being. And also, please remember we're here for you if you need us. Beginning today, the Covenant team, the chaplain team, and the process team will be coordinating even more closely to make support easier to access as we move through the rest of General Assembly. We're preparing for those who will gather in person at the studio site, those continuing to participate virtually as we all are now, and those people who are joining us from our wonderful satellite sites across the continent. Whether you're experiencing a challenge, seeking support, or simply need help finding the right resource, we on the care teams are available to hold you in care and help you make the most of your GA experience. So if you need us, please reach out using the email addresses that I hope have been provided. I've got some Covenant people who are putting them in both the Zoom and the Whova spaces for this broadcast. In closing, be well, Stay safe. Take good care of yourselves and one another. And to the extent that it's your jam, make good trouble. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim, for that report and for all the good work that the care teams are doing. We're now moving to our consideration of actions of immediate witness. A preface. These conversations often invite strong feelings and deep conviction. That's part of what it means to care deeply about our faith and our world. As we enter this time together, I invite us to hold one another and this process with care. So, a few suggestions. 1, be respectful. 2, avoid language that diminishes or dismisses others. 3, speak to persuade rather than to provoke. 4, ground your words in our shared values and name those values when you can. 5, practice self-care, including disengaging if you need to. And 6, keep love at the center as we speak and listen to one another. Now, let's welcome the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson, our other co-moderator, to facilitate the first AIW discussion. Kimberly?
Thank you. Hello again. I am the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. I serve as minister of the UU Congregation of the South Fork in beautiful Bridgehampton, New York. I am also one of your co-moderators. I have brown skin, black and white hair, a floral shirt, and I use she, her pronouns. The first action of immediate witness to be considered is titled Defend Against the Assault on Environmental Protections, Public Land Rules, and the Endangerment Finding. The text for this AIW can be found at the QR code and link on your screen. You may also be finding a link for that in your Zoom chat. Delegates, if you would like to speak on this action of immediate witness, this is your cue to indicate that you would like to be put in the pro and con lines. We're going to take 3 minutes for our tellers to identify the pro and con speakers and put them in queues. And as a reminder, so that we can focus on our speakers and so that we can easily identify those who want to be added to the queue, during this discussion, the chat will be limited. If you would like to be added to the pro or con queue, please follow the instructions in your chat. The chat is not available for general conversation during this time. Okay, I think we are ready to resume, or really to begin discussion of this first action of immediate witness. Please set our timer for 35 minutes for this discussion. And I now recognize Deb Cruz, who will introduce this action of immediate witness. Deb is recognized for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Please set the timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Good morning or afternoon. My name is Deb Cruz, and I'm a delegate for the Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship and president of Justice Washington, the UU State Action Network in the state of Washington. I'm still a white-skinned elder in denial with long red hair, wearing wire-rimmed glasses and a black tank top. I use she, her pronouns. Public lands and waters are under threat all across the United States. From Tongass National Forest and Arctic Wildlife Refuge in Alaska to the Everglades in Florida, from San Joaquin Valley in California to the White National Forest in Maine, from boundary waters in Minnesota to the Gulf Coast, from Chaco Canyon and Oak Flat in New Mexico and Arizona to the Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania, from Bears Ears National Monument in Utah to the Nantahala and Pisgah National Forests in North Carolina, from the National Monument and Highway in Hawaii to the Finger Lakes National Forest in New York, and everywhere in between. No place is safe and no place is sacred. But we are fighting back. The National Congress of American Indians and the affiliated tribes of Northwest Indians approved resolutions opposing the rescinding of both the roadless rule and public lands rule. Alaskan tribes joined coalitions opposing the endangerment finding. Other tribes and nations are opposing projects in their territories. UU organizations and state action networks have signed on to this to sponsor this AIW, and they're listed in the beginning of the chat and in the discussion platform. So let's respond to this breach of trust as a whole community and take back what rightfully belongs to us and our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deb. Right now, we have 2 speakers in our pro queue and no speakers in our concern queue. I recognize from our pro queue, Don Allen. Please set our speaker timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Don?
Yes, thank you. I'm Don Allen. I'm a older white male with brownish gray hair and a beard that's whitening. I've got glasses on. I've got a comfortable green T-shirt on. I'm just back from taking the dogs for a walk. And anyway, I'm just re-elected president of the Pocatello Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Pocatello, Idaho. And one reason I'm speaking up for this resolution is that Idaho has among the largest proportion of public lands of any state in the United States. And so we would like to keep those public. Some of the ways we've been working at that is working with hunters and fishermen to protect our public lands, and also when it's appropriate, working with ranchers. That there are some lands in Idaho that are suitable for multiple use, with both grazing and other public uses. And anyway, we'd like to keep it that way. There are some people with a lot of money that would like to buy up some of that land and keep it private. And so far, the hunters and fishermen and the environmentalists have been able to balance that out with a lot of our Western representatives, senators, and also a lot of our state officials. One thing about the roadless areas, all the places out here that it is easy and cheap and profitable to build roads have already been built. So the roadless areas, it's expensive. Now there are some resources there that weren't seen as worth building the cost of building a road in to get them earlier. But once you put a road in.
Don, thank you so much. Your time has expired. Having no speakers in our concern queue and one more in our pro queue, we will hear from Alex Fisher, and that will conclude our discussion of this action of immediate witness. I recognize Alex. Please set our speaker timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Alex?
Am I unmuted now? Okay. I unmuted like 3 times. My name is Alex Fisher. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a 14-year-old in a 64-year-old body with short brown hair, brown reading glasses, kind of a round face, and a black and yellow t-shirt. I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Oneonta in New York. And I want to keep this quick. I just want to say that I support this AIW because I think it's something that is more easily translated and transferred to our congregations across the country. And and I don't want to speak against the other AIW. I just think this is one that is better on a national level. And I am very concerned about the Washington proposals and the striking the roadless rules. So I support this AIW. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. I just want to remind folks that our actions of immediate witness are not in competition with each other. They each stand alone. And our ballot for this action of immediate witness, I'm looking for the title to be able to restate it. Our ballot for the action of immediate witness, defend against the assault on environmental protections, public land rules, and the endangerment finding will be on your ballot at the close of this general session. Thank you so much for all of that discussion. I am going to turn things over to Bill, who will lead discussion for our second action of immediate witness.
Thank you, Kimberly. The second AIW is All Eyes on Delaney Hall, vigils, songs, and support outside ICE detention centers across America in solidarity with those on hunger strike, their families, and their supporters. The text for this AIW can be found at the QR code and link on your screen. As with the first AIW, this is your cue to go to the pro and con lines. We're going to take 3 minutes for the tellers to identify the pro and con speakers and put them in queues. The chat is not available for general comments at this time. Okay, we have 35 minutes to discuss this AIW. Please set the discussion timer for 35 minutes. I now recognize Kim Wilder, who will introduce this action of immediate witness. Kim is recognized for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Please set the timer for 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Wilder. I'm with the UUCSF, and I'm a new member, which is why I have to read the initials. I like to be called Key. My skin is beige and pink because I am what people call white. I am wearing a blue tank top with red and white checkered trim. I have long, straight, brownish hair and blue eyes. All of the pronouns dance inside of me, so please just use my name. If you did not guess, I'm a poet. That's my main thing in life, I guess. I should say being a mom too. On May 22nd, 2026, more than 300 people being detained at the Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark, New Jersey, launched a hunger and labor strike. The strike has spread so that nearly 1,000 people held captive by ICE are on hunger strike in at least 7 facilities to protest their unfair detention. This proposal has the beginning of ideas of how we can apply our love and faith to support these hunger strikers and to try to close detention centers. So it's focused on Delaney because a lot of things that are very sad and dramatic are happening there, but it's meant to also be related to things around the country. This action of immediate witness calls on 2 immediate actions and 5 longer-term commitments. I have heard a lot of feedback and concerns about the immediate action, so I wanted to focus on those. One is a vigil and sing-along outside Delaney Hall on Sunday, June 21st. That would be right after or a few hours after our General Assembly, like at the end of our assembly. 2, participation in the July 13th National Day of Action called by Faith in Action. The first one is about the second one, about July 13th. An apology that in the rush of creating this AIW, I did not uncover enough of partnership to know that UU individuals and groups were already working on the July 13th Day of Action. I knew that it was happening, but not that. There's some definite New Jersey Faith in Action UU people who are working on it. So I'm happy about that. And I just want to support that and send more people there if this proposal could send a few more people. For the June 21st event, I have heard some worry. And I realized that the answer to worry is assurance. So I want to assure people that there is time, and I have seen good people working with knowledge to make a June 21st event that can work and be safe, helpful, and honoring our partners. I want to ease people's worries about where this event would be held, and just note that my proposal says outside Delaney Hall. And
You're out of time. You're out of time now. Thank you very much. In the concern line, we have Marka, I'll mispronounce it, I'm sorry, Silva-Rosen. Please put 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock. Marka?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. My name is Marcus Silva-Rosen. I am the head of Justice Ministry for First Unitarian Church in Louisville. I use she, her pronouns. I am a white female with dark brown hair in a ponytail. I have blue glasses, and I am wearing a green tie-dyed patterned shirt. First off, I would like to say I feel like this is absolutely a worthy cause. Unfortunately, right now, it is in a very volatile situation, honestly, in which too many lives have already been lost. If we were to show up en masse, I worry that we don't have the training in de-escalation should something occur, whether it's just a misunderstanding or something taken too far. And I believe we should absolutely show our support. I believe this is something that's needed. But if we're going to do it on a unified UUA approach, we need more time for more training. And it's just to keep our members safe and make sure that no other tragedies happen. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the pro line, we now have Leslie Peterson. Please put 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock. Leslie?
Universalist is not only Thank you. My name is Leslie Peterson, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm representing the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Fort Myers, Florida, where I'm a past president and currently serve as vice president for worship. I am a 65-year-old white, cisgender, straight woman who identifies as neurodivergent. I have shoulder-length blonde hair, am wearing a blue t-shirt, and am wearing headphones. I speak in support of this action of immediate witness. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. That commitment does not stop at the walls of detention centers. Today, people held in facilities across the country, including Delaney Hall in New Jersey and other ICE detention centers where hunger strikes are taking place, are risking their health to call attention to conditions they believe violate their basic human rights. Their voices deserve to be heard. Here in Florida, this issue is not distant. Members of our congregation have traveled by bus to weekly vigils held outside the detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz. Our minister, Reverend Arthur Jones, has spoken with the press at these gatherings, helping bring public attention to the treatment of those being detained. We have participated in this witness every week since last summer, and we intend to continue until that facility is closed. Our experience demonstrates an important truth of this action of immediate witness. Even those who cannot travel to New Jersey can still answer its call. We can educate ourselves, organize within our congregations, support impacted families, partner with immigrant justice organizations, and bear witness at detention facilities in our own communities. Whether at Delaney Hall, Alligator Alcatraz, or any other detention center, our message is the same. Human beings are not disposable. Every person deserves dignity, compassion, and justice. I urge adoption of this action of immediate witness.
Thank you, Leslie. From the con line, we now have Ami Young. Please put 2 minutes and 15 seconds onto the timer.
Hello. My camera hasn't switched to me yet, so I don't know if you, there you go. Okay, usually it switches to my video. My name is Ami Young. I'm representing the Church of the Larger Fellowship as a delegate. I am a light-skinned woman with dark hair wearing an equality t-shirt with a rainbow, with a crocheted blanket behind me that's Lego inspired, and wearing a crocheted necklace with a worry stone in it. The crochet is relevant because I learned to crochet from a Holocaust survivor, and my paternal grandfather was in the U.S. Army Polish unit. I know my history. I know my family history. I know how bad things can go. I have 2 sons that are currently draft age. I have a 16-year-old who will be draft age soon. We need to be very, very careful and conscientious and mindful and follow the lead of experts in how we address this. I trust our UU leadership to tell us the right ways to address this and the right path to take. I trust our social justice experts to lead the way in this. And I'm speaking off the cuff. I prepared a scripted statement and I put it up on YouTube and Facebook if anybody wants to have my more coherent words, but I am very emotionally activated and I'm a social scientist, and when we are emotionally activated, we make bad choices. We need to make these choices from a place of calm, rational responsibility instead of reactivity. And I feel that this AII is coming from a reactive place and we need to be more responsible. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Ami. From the pro line, we now have Sally Gellert. Please put 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the timer. Sally?
Good afternoon, morning. This is Sally Jane Gellert from Central Unitarian Church in Westwood, New Jersey. There's my time clock. Okay. Start my video. I don't know if I can. I am a white elder woman, 70-ish, and live right now in a black box. I am encouraged Delaney Hall on Sunday to the real issue that this AIW addresses, the actions of ICE, the repression of New Jersey State Police, the conditions in GO Group's Delaney Hall, and all the other ICE concentration camps, regardless of the operator. With ICE a post 9/11 invention that was never really needed, which has outgrown even its original purpose to become President Trump's army of repression, we need to take a stand. The controversy over this AIW highlights flaws in new processes, specifically the mini assemblies that now happen before GA and the inability to make changes during GA, even when the issue and the AIW itself is emergent. If we could simply strike the reference to considering, not requiring, visiting Delaney Hall on Sunday, I think and hope that this AIW would be affirmed in a flash. The proposer of this AIW is a new delegate at GA, motivated to propose an AIW by the courageous hunger and labor strikes of imprisoned persons at Delaney Hall and elsewhere, and extreme attacks on protesters there, both by ICE and the New Jersey State Police, the latter despite the governor's call for the closure of Delaney Hall. I saw our post and replied with encouragement. I have worked with the organizers of the protests at Delaney Hall on earlier immigration and peace issues, have visited Delaney Hall sporadically myself, including just before the most recent violent repression. Unfortunately, juggling family and other obligations, I did not get back to work on the AI or help Kimberly connect with those on the ground. I hope that lack did not derail this important statement in support of prisoners, their families, and supporting organizations such as Eyes on Ice, COSATIA, Pax Christi, and more. I hope we can give the new delegate a measure of grace and not discourage her from such participation with comments assuming, inappropriately about how this came to be.
Thank you, Sally. And now we'll move to the con line to Deborah Ann Tripoldi. Deborah? Please put 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. My name is Deborah Ann Tripoldi. I'm wearing a purple shirt from last year's General Assembly. And I want to talk about this AIW. I don't think it's necessary because people are doing this already, protesting all the time over there. We need to actually go forward and more stuff to be done with it. It's very sloppy put together. It needs to be put with more thought to it, what we need to do. After that, then we could vote on it, but until then, I don't think we should vote on it right now. I think it should be held on to it. Yes, that's right, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move to the pro line to David Reno from the First Church Boston satellite site. David?
Oh, my goodness. So can they hear me?
I think so.
Yes.
Hello, I'm David Reno, First Church of Boston. I'm a white male with a brown hair and a white beard. I'm wearing glasses and I've got a blue and white checkered shirt. I'm a member of the First Church in Boston. I would like to speak in favor of this particular thing. Note, however, it's on Father's Day, and you might make the point that there are many fathers separated from their children due to this. Now, I come from a different perspective. In the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, there was a great reporter named Clark Mullenhoff who said, in any investigation of corruption, follow the dollar. In Boston, in Massachusetts, we have followed the dollar as to who is sponsoring these concentration camps called detention centers. Citizens Bank does so. And let's follow the dollar and see who's making money off of it. Second thing is, I am a veteran of the Boston Police Department. Our commissioner will only arrest people if they have a warrant, not simply be for detention. That is the policy of the Boston Police Department. It might behoove us to find out if your local police department would do the same, or your sheriff's department, or your state police department. So follow the dollar and find out how many banks are making money on this. And also ask your local law enforcement if they will arrest people merely on suspicion or in the old-fashioned way under due process of law with a warrant issued by a court, which is the way we good conservatives used to have law and order and equal justice under law. There, I would also recommend to you that this is a business, and I suggest you look up an old book by Jessica Mitford called Kind and Usual Punishment about the prison business. People are making money, and let's find out who, and let us speak with our dollars and our deposits. On that cheerful note, I will bid you adieu, and I hope this has caused people to rethink this idea. Adios.
Thank you, David. And now we will move to the con line, Reverend Anya Samler. Please put 2 minutes, 15 seconds onto the timer.
Hello. I'm Reverend Anya Samler Michael, she, her senior co-minister at the Unitarian Universalist congregation from Delaney in New York. I'm a 50-year-old wearing a green textured shirt. This particular AIW, while written with good intention and reflective of a necessary call to witness, has an impact that perpetuates harm. There is coordinated work and deep relationships in process that this AIW circumnavigates. There are also suggestions made for an action that does not take into account the needs of the people most affected. Actions taken without these undermine our accountability and our values as Unitarian Universalists. My experience is that the greatest midwife of justice is always relationship. There is a performative quality to any justice work that occurs outside of relationship, and as a person who grew up in a theater family, I understand the value of performance, but I do not about it. The supremacy in our most evident in times when we substituted formation. We need to look at the empowerment controversy, or you could say the white abdication in our system. Remember that the work of justice is not made with a promise, but the extension of real, tactical, and embodied solidarity. We must be very careful when we use the imperfect tools.
I believe we have lost that speaker for now. So what I will do is I will move to the pro line and for Angelia Lawrence.
Well, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Angela Lawrence. I have brown and gray hair. I have on a gray shirt, and I'm from the UU Fellowship in Winston-Salem. I support this immediate action witness because even though I can't get to Delaney Hall, ICE detention centers are horrible places where people are not being taken care of. And the ICE body in general is trampling all over our rights. In Forsyth County, we were just informed by Democracy Docket yesterday that ICE has gotten access to our voter rolls. And in our just regular detention jails, we have many people that are under ICE detention. I think any way that we can combat that, and that's how I read the AIW, that we should, and that we're called to stand up against the tyranny of it. So whether it's writing letters or standing up in person or protesting in other ways, let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to the con line with Rob Spirko. Rob? Please put 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the timer.
Hi there. My name is Rob Spirko from Foothills Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Maryville, Tennessee. I'm an older white male with glasses and a resplendent silvery beard, wearing a purple shirt and a background of books. I just want to capture some of the things that are being said. Oh, he, him pronoun. I want to capture some of the things that are being said in like the Hoover chat, where there's a lot of support for the idea of this resolution. And because some of the issues in putting things together quickly, there's a lot of opposition based on the fact that leaders on the ground in New Jersey are saying that, people just showing up would do harm to the organizing efforts there. I think a lot of us agree about the ideas, the values in this AIW. It has to go out as written to use nationwide without, people will miss the explanatory notes. You lose control of the narrative at a certain point if it's not baked in. I think it points to maybe changing some of the ways we handle AIWs at GA in the future. But for now, I have reservations about supporting this, even as I deeply, coming from Tennessee, which is one of the leading states in immigration enforcement and deportations, agree with it. I think it would behoove the national leadership maybe to make a bold statement if the resolution fails so that people can be clear about this. And I just want to remind folks that we do have an AIW from 2025 called, no, I've lost it. But there's an AIW on immigration and the inherent worthiness of immigrants from last year that gives us something we can draw on and maybe recommit ourselves to individually and as congregations. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We lost Anya before, and Anya had, I believe, 30 seconds left. So can Anya come back in the con line?
Yes, thank you. I also hear that I was breaking up a lot. So let me see where I left off. I think I was saying the history of white supremacy in our faith tradition is perhaps most evident in the times when we have substituted performance for relationship. We only need to look at the Black empowerment controversy. You could say the white abdication in our association to remember that the work of justice is not made with a promise, but with the extension of real, tactical, and embodied solidarity. We must therefore be very careful when we use the imperfect tools before us, especially when those tools are further compromised by an imposed condition of urgency. Please vote down this AIW and approve a responsive resolution that is being submitted that
Anya, your time has expired. So let's go back now to another con speaker since that one was abbreviated. Kate Johansson, please put 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the timer.
Am I on? There we go. Awesome.
You're on.
Hi, my name is Katya Hansen. My pronouns are she and they. I am a delegate from Palomar Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Vista, California, and I proudly serve as the president and CEO of URISE, UU Refugee and Immigrant Services and Education. I'm a past middle-aged fat white woman with silver, white, and brown hair. I'm wearing a black V-neck t-shirt and a spiral necklace with a chalice in the center. And I strongly urge us to vote no on this AIW. URISE works with congregations doing immigrant justice with the particular focus on using an anti-racist and anti-oppression approach, which includes developing and maintaining accountable relationships with impacted communities. In the simplest language, that means we work with congregations that are still primarily white to do justice work mindfully in order to cause the least amount of unintended harm as possible. It has been clearly articulated that this AIW is not welcomed by those who have been doing the work, and it will cause harm to those relationships and possibly undermine their strategies. At this point, our only option is to avoid damaging relationships is to vote it down. We tried to amend the AIW before GA so that we could leverage the good intent of the original author, but the AIW procedures are insufficient to meet the current urgent needs. Because there's a greater commitment to adhere to procedures than there is to reducing harm, we've been unable to amend the AIW. Our next strategy is to vote this AIW down so we can bring a responsive resolution that will present a modified AIW that honors the original intent, as well as our relationship with organizers on the ground and their strategy of a national call on July 13th. URISE and a number of other national UU organizations that work on immigration will be joining the folks in New Jersey to uplift this national call for July 13th. So because the original AIW was written outside of relationship and would cause harm to established relationships and policies and strategies, and because the AIW process prioritized procedure over relationship and avoiding harm, the only option that we have at this point to live our UU values is to vote this AIW down and support the responsive resolution.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the pro line, to Angela Risden. Please put 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock.
I want to withdraw my opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Since we did not have a speaker on the pro line, we'll go directly to Mary Jo Ebert in the pro line.
Hello, everyone. Can you see and hear me? Hi,
Yes.
everyone. I'm Mary Jo Ebert. I'm a delegate from Birmingham Unitarian Church that's north of Detroit, Michigan. I also serve as director of our Michigan UU State Action Network. I'm a white middle-aged woman with shoulder-length brown hair. The shirt I'm wearing today is pink, orange, and blue. Today, I speak in favor of the general spirit of this AIW. I wasn't aware of some of the particulars of the proposed action on the 21st in New Jersey, and I respect those concerns. I look forward to reading the responsive resolution that's coming together. We have a detention center here in a small town called Baldwin in the heart of the Manistee Forest in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. And they want to build another one in Romulus near the Detroit Metro Airport. During the past few months, our State Action Network has become the fiscal sponsor of a grassroots organization that is supporting our immigrant neighbors. And through this relationship, we are learning about the atrocities that are occurring in these detention facilities. So there's an urgent need. And they're not going to stop with one or two in each state. They're going to keep building and building and building because the motive for profit and cruelty is difficult to fully satisfy, unfortunately. So I would just like to say today that no matter what state you're in, there is something that you can do. At a minimum, you may contact your elected officials and object to your tax money being spent in this way. You can object to the cruelty, and you can find those relationship building organizations that are already doing the work. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. And now we can move to the con line with Charlene Walker. Please put 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the timer. Charlene?
Hello, everyone. My name is Charlene Walker, and I'm a Black woman wearing a white cream shirt with auburn twists, and I'm sitting outdoors. My pronouns are she and her. My name is Charlene Walker, and I rise in opposition to this action of immediate witness. I have organized Close Delaney Hall. When it reopened, I helped lead a faith-rooted direct action where I was physically harmed by ICE and police. I am on the ground nearly every day, and I have been tear gassed multiple times. Through my organization, Faith in New Jersey, of which I am the executive director, I am the one that issued the national call for people to come to New Jersey on July 13th, and I'm a proud UU. That day was not chosen, though, for convenience or spectacle. It grew from a coordinated national strategy to build the power necessary to close Delaney Hall, which is our goal, and to return people to their families. We know how to win in New Jersey. We've won before. That is why the detention center was closed to begin with. But we cannot, when our strategy is disrupted and the power is pulled away from the people who must lead this struggle. I believe this AIW was created with sincere concern from the active love Unitarian Universalist bring to movements for justice, and I am calling that love into deeper relationship. Good intentions do not prevent the harmful impact. UU's deeply engaged in immigrant justice asked that this proposal be changed. We were denied in order to preserve procedure. When procedure becomes more sacred than the wisdom or care of Black, brown, and immigrant and directly impacted people, it reproduces white supremacy. And in this process, I want to name that I was harmed. The AIW calls people to Delaney Hall on June 21st without grounding that action in local relationships, shared strategy, accountability, or the Kingian nonviolence that we're actually requiring people to be trained in. We are already repairing harm that's on the ground happening every single day. And the government depends upon us turning against one another, consuming each other while the real machine of detention continues unchecked. We must not cooperate with that division. Anti-racism means following the leadership of those closest to the pain and closest to the possibility.
Your time expired. Thank you. We do not currently have additional folks in the pro line. We will take a couple more in the con line while we see if anyone additionally is in the pro line. So next is Sarah Fischel. Please set the timer for 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Hi, my name is Sarah Fischel. I assume you all can hear me. Yes? I use she, her pronouns. I'm an older white woman with glasses, short, light brown hair, and a flowered shirt on. I am a delegate for the UU congregation of Monmouth County in New Jersey. We are active supporters of UU Faith Action New Jersey, one of the organizations that has been orchestrating our response to the horrible things that are going on in Delaney Hall this year. I urge people to vote no for all the reasons that Reverend Anya and Katya and a number of our previous speakers have talked about. We need to be working in combination with our religious and community leader partners in protesting the horrible situation at Delaney Hall. I urge us to work through UU Faith Action New Jersey going forward, and I hope that we get to approve a responsive resolution on this topic that captures all of the reasons why we need to object to the situation there. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, we have Rachel Rott in the con line, and I believe Rachel will be our last speaker.
Hello. Hello, my name is Rachel Rott. My pronouns are she and they interchangeably. I'm a middle-aged white woman with curly pink hair and gold-rimmed glasses. I'm wearing a black t-shirt and a button that says ICE out. I'm a delegate from Palomar UU Fellowship in Vista, California. I'm also on remote staff at First Universalist Church of Minneapolis, and I'm on the URISE team. And I join our URISE president, Katya Hansen, and our partner organizations in strongly urging you to vote no, and instead to support a coming responsive resolution that we hope will address the concerns and the passions of UUs. Instead, we are asking you to follow the lead of folks like Charlene Walker, who you just heard from, and support the folks who are organizing around July 13th national call. You can follow Faith in New Jersey, the UU Faith Action New Jersey, and the UU State Action Network. And what I want to say is that as a staff member at one of our UU congregations in Minneapolis, and I was able to be in Minneapolis for the January National Clergy Call, is that national clergy call was organized by March, Multi-Faith, Anti-Racism, Change and Healing, which is a pro-queer group of multiracial clergy and faith leaders. They organized that from the Twin Cities. Folks came in, followed their lead. What we need UUs, and I am speaking especially and particularly to my beloved white UUs right now, slow down, listen, and let's follow the lead of the folks who are most affected. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That will conclude our pro and con speakers on this AIW. I do feel the need, though, to tell you a couple other things. In particular, a number of the speakers have referred to a responsive resolution as an approach to address concerns. I wanted to let you know that a responsive resolution was submitted and it was reviewed by the parliamentarian and the moderators, and it is not an allowable responsive resolution. Very specifically, a responsive resolution cannot be used as an alternative to an AIW. So there will be no responsive resolution on this. So thank you for the discussion. The vote to affirm this AIW will be on today's ballot. It takes a 2/3 vote to affirm this action of immediate witness. And now it's time for a 15-minute break. I encourage you all to take some time away from your screens so you can come back refreshed. So we will be back in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Welcome back. I am the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. We now come to the agenda item for responsive resolutions and budget motions. We recognize that there has been some confusion and, again, yes, actual dissatisfaction with the rules of procedure. I will read to you from our rules of procedure. Rule 10 on responsive resolutions. Per our UUA bylaws 416.2, responsive resolutions are brief advisory statements that express the sentiments of the delegates. They must be in response to a substantive portion of a report by an officer or committee reporting to a regular General Assembly. Responsive resolutions are not binding and do not set policy for the association. They may not act as a substitute for other types of business items, such as business resolutions, budget motions, study action issues, bylaw amendments, or actions of immediate witness. The moderator will determine whether a proposed responsive resolution may be admitted to the final agenda under this rule. We understand that sometimes rules and procedures act as impediments to what we really want to do. That is one of the reasons why we are in the midst of a multi-year bylaw review. For now, our bylaws remain our guideline for how we govern, and the rules of procedure adopted by this assembly govern how we are running this assembly. Responsive resolutions provide a mechanism for delegates to respond to significant matters that arise or become known during General Assembly, and therefore could not have been addressed through the regular agenda process. Budget motions provide a mechanism for delegates to propose changes related to the association's proposed budget. Today, 2 delegates submitted responsive resolutions, and will proceed according to the rules of procedure. No delegates submitted a budget motion. We have approximately 30 minutes to discuss both of these responsive resolutions. Each proposer will have 2 minutes and 15 seconds to present their resolution. That will be followed by, I think we'll have about 15 minutes of discussion, alternating between the concern and the pro queue. For the first responsive resolution, where are the youth? On your screen, you'll find the text of this first responsive resolution. But it's the only way we could fit it on the slide, so I'll read it to you now. Where are the youth? Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, in her UUA officer report, Holding the Heart of Unitarian Universalism, asserts that the vision for the future of youth and emerging adult ministry is just beginning to become clearer. Knowing that we need to strengthen the containers for this ministry at the congregational and local levels, this is challenging to achieve, end quote. This is challenging to achieve because the association does not control these containers. However, the association does control the container known as Youth Caucus. UUA Secretary John Simmons shared that there are 6 confirmed youth in attendance, 3 online only and 3 business only. Therefore, to achieve the goals set forth by Reverend Dr. Betancourt on behalf of the UUA, I move that the association provide the resources to recruit, train, and cultivate youth leadership and attendance to support no fewer than 200 youth at GA 2027 in San Jose and GA 2028 online. Our youth are our present, not our future. We are better when the youth are in the house. Our sacred duty to our collective children is to provide the requisite skills, support, guidance, and resources so we can follow them into the future of which they dream. We will now pause for 3 minutes while people get in line to speak. During this time, please discuss amongst yourselves this responsive resolution and know that once discussion begins, our chat will be limited. Now's the time to add yourself to the queue. We'll pause for 3 minutes. Discussion. I do want to let delegates know that since both of our responsive resolutions refer to our youth, we've asked our senior staff to make a presentation during General Session 5 about some of the programs for this year and the years ahead that they are working on. For this conversation, we'll hear first from our proposer, Deborah Boyd of the First UU Church in Columbus, Ohio. Please put 2 minutes and 15 seconds on our speaker clock. Deborah.
Thank you, and hello to all the GA delegates. I am so grateful to be here with you. My name is Deborah Gray Boyd. I am a member of First Unitarian Universalist Church. I am a middle-aged woman sitting in her home office with her chalice. I am a white woman with short brown hair. I am a 20-year Unitarian Universalist who has had the privilege and responsibility of being part of our national community and companioning our youth as they attend General Assembly. I have sat at the feet of our youth, and they have taught me more about my faith than almost anyone else in our midst. I am a better ally because of our youth. I have more ways to access our governance, and I have been able to witness them move this assembly to better decisions. I want to start by saying, please support the next responsive resolution as well. But part of my background, which you may not know, is that I have a master's in organization development and change management. And Peter Drucker says, if you cannot measure it, you cannot change it. The number of butts in seats is not a particularly nuanced measure, but it is a measure for how we have done in supporting folks in gathering. We use this metric in our congregations, and we use this metric at GA for how many delegates, how many participants, how many people show up for worship and witness. So I think it is entirely reasonable to use that metric here. By having a specific goal, I think we can better support our youth in being part of our current and future faith. People will say, this is not my lane. This is the one lane I never stay out of, because for me, our youth are all of our lanes. We need to love up on our youth because they are the ones who invite us forward into understanding our faith and our place in this world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Let's hear from our speaker in the concern queue, Erin Kelly. Please set our speaker timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hello, my name is Erin Kelly. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from the Unitarian Church of Montpelier, and have long brown hair, and I'm wearing a chalice necklace and a green t-shirt. I'm not necessarily in the con line, per se. I mean, obviously that's where I put myself. I also want to say that I am one of our youth group facilitators, but I just wanted to bring up something that some other people were saying, wherein part of the problem with GA youth attendance at GA might be timing. Just a lot of our youth are still finishing up school at this time, and so it can be really hard to remove yourself from just the very end. And so I think that more resources wouldn't necessarily be bad, but it wouldn't necessarily fix that problem. And I'm also, as someone who is not a youth but is a young person, emerging adult, GA online does not seem particularly exciting. So I'm just curious if we might have a lack of youth for that reason as well. Just it doesn't feel as exciting and life-giving as coming together in person, although I haven't been to past GAs, so I don't know what a normal attendance might look like. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We now return to our pro queue, Ami Young. Please set our timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hi, I am Ami. Wait, there it goes. I am still a light-skinned woman with dark hair and a very mom body and a Lego-inspired crochet blanket behind me. I am also the mother of 5 born UUs. The 2 eldest are 22 and about to turn 19, and I was involved in being a worship associate while still breastfeeding my first, and my second I was pregnant with my second while I was a worship associate. Those 2 have gone on to have leadership roles in our congregations, and my second born to serve as a youth leader at last year's GA. Those are William, also known as Liam, and Delano. They are not participating in this GA. As the prior speaker just said, it really doesn't appeal to them as an experience for virtual, but they have already said after their experience in Pittsburgh and Baltimore that they want to fund our family attending in San Jose, California, in next year. Little flustered. And I have already messaged Deborah that she has my full support as a sociologist who specializes in socialization processes, hence the children that actually stayed in our denomination after I selected it for them before I was even pregnant with the first. And as a maker, I made this, I make this, I made 3D printed things that were at GA last year. I will make things from my hands to help fund this because I believe that strongly that we need to be having our youth feel loved up. I also have some ideas on how to help them emerge into adulthood, transition to new geographic locations that I look forward to this responsive resolution getting some attention and energy into, because I think we really need to be doing better with the handoff and getting our kids to GA at least for their bridging year. I think would really, really help with that so that they can meet people in the places that they are landing in college. Done.
Thank you so much, Ami, in time. We now turn to our concern line. Please recognize Avery Hamill and set our timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hi, I'm Avery Hamill. I'm a white young adult wearing a brown shirt, and I have a fused glass chalice necklace on. I'm a board member and a delegate from the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, Vermont, as well as a past young and youth guide at our General Assemblies in both Pittsburgh, Portland, Oregon, and I think I did one online, as well as a current student for divinity at Meadville. I'm speaking in concern for this because our General Assemblies are not set up in a way that works for people who don't want to attend a business session. And a lot of our youth don't want to attend business sessions. That was what I heard from the youth who've been attending when I was a guide, that unless we change first General Assembly, we're not going to get youth that want to keep coming. And to just have youth show up to General Assembly is not enough and should not be where we're starting. Our problem is not with the youth showing up to General Assembly. It is a systematic issue starting in our congregations. We are not keeping youth and young adults there, and that is where we should be focusing our time and our resources. How do we keep getting people engaged in local congregational work? Not how do we get people engaged at the national level when those voices aren't being represented at the local congregation. I am so in support of youth attending General Assembly, but I am not in support of us focusing our resources on that when we're not first getting people supported and staying with local Unitarian Universalist congregations. I think that is where we need to be starting and then working up towards General Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avery. We turn now to our pro queue. I recognize Speaker Destiny Carden. Please reset our speaker clock for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Destiny.
Hi, I can't see my, oh, there we go. Okay. My name is Destiny Carden. My pronouns are she, her. I represent the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lakeland in Florida. And I absolutely understand that at a local standpoint, we have to do more to get the youth involved. But I believe that there is a lot of youth that come because their parents do, and that's a start. I think getting those youth involved in GA and getting them out into the world, able to kind of talk to their own age groups and things like that will help at a local level. So while yes, GA doesn't seem interesting or anything like that, I definitely think we can offer programs or workshops, like I said, to help the youth with leadership or anything that they're really needing
or wanting to grow in their faith, because I see so many passionate youth that maybe just don't have the right, that don't know where to go or don't know how to grow with their youth or with their faith. So I think there's a lot of ways that we can implement programs and workshops to help them kind of grow, because if we grow our youth locally, like the last speaker said, I think we can grow it on the national level as well.
Thank you so much, Destiny. We turn to our concern queue. Gordon Woodsworth, please reset our timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hi, my name is Gordon. I am a non-binary person who is white. I'm bald. I'm calling you from work. I'm a delegate for the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Frederick, Maryland. I'm in the concern line because I feel like a lot of this is more of a statement than it is an action. And I think really what we as a denomination need to do is take a good long look in the mirror and figure out how we can deal with this as a denomination. I've been to several GAs in the past few years, and notably I recall the youth being very activated about a budget proposal to remove fossil fuels from our investments. And that was completely ignored by most of the denomination and the voting. So I feel like the fact that there's not very many youth here is that the youth are voting with their feet and we are losing the election. So I think it's more important that we focus on what those needs are in our congregations and how the UUA can advise congregations to reflect what young people actually want and what their values are, and not just talk about it, but walk our talk. And then this will change, period. They will come if we set the example.
Thank you so much, Gordon. We turn to our pro queue, Michael Scott. Please reset our timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Michael.
Hello, my name is Michael Scott. I'm a delegate from the First Universalist Church of Rochester, New York. I'm an older white man with a white beard and wire-rimmed glasses wearing a yellow plaid shirt. My pronouns are he and him. I'm a veteran of many General Assemblies. I was hooked by the youth caucuses of 1977 and 78. I was actually the principal author of the 1978 Business Resolution on Youth. Both of my kids were active in the Youth Caucus in their day. I've witnessed many times when the Youth Caucus, often over 100 strong, profoundly impacted the General Assembly experience and called us to our better selves. My father was present for the founding of LRY in the 50s. I came of age in the gap between LRY and YRUU. My brother was present for the founding of YRUU. I mourn the loss of well-funded, prioritized, and effective youth programming within the UUA. I agree very much with the previous speaker that this is a bigger problem than just GA, but GA is part of it. I wasn't involved in crafting this this responsive resolution, but when I saw it, I felt moved to speak here, and I strongly encourage delegates to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Having no more speakers in our concern queue and one more in our pro queue, we will hear from Rob Sparko, who will have the last word on this. Rob?
Oh, geez, it's quite a responsibility. I'm Rob Sparko, he, him, coming to you from Foothills Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Maryville, Tennessee. Middle-aged white man with glasses, purple shirt, and silvery white long beard. Yeah, I just wanted to say I agreed with both, with several of the previous speakers. I do want to, from my experience, mention that having Satya Mamdani and Maya Waller on the Article 2 Study Commission was an amazing and valuable component of our work. It would not have proceeded the same way without them. And I think we need to have better pipelines. I was grateful to hear Kimberly and Bill mention the leadership pipeline in their opening remarks, I believe it was, as something they're concerned with. We need those pipelines. We need to develop those so that we can have youth represented on the board and in our committees and commissions. GA is one way to help people get on that radar and into that environment. So I'm strongly in support of that. And I actually agree very strongly with Avery's point that, if we don't build a space for youth to occupy, to live in, it's not going to work. And I think this would be valuable in building the spaces we need for our future. Honestly, if we build a container that will hold our youth with their prophetic leadership and vision, then we are building for the future, I think. And, I strongly support this resolution and the other one. And I do especially like the identifiable target number as a goal to work for that is really specific and concrete. Thank you all, and I do hope this helps open up a larger conversation. I look forward to that report that will be happening in session 5. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That will conclude our discussion of our first responsive resolution. Where are the youth? Our second responsive resolution, gratitude for UUA support of youth and emerging adults, was submitted by Carly Heckel of All Souls Unitarian, Washington, D.C. On your screen, you'll find the text of that second responsive resolution. It also is small and difficult to read, so I will read it aloud for you. I think you may also find a link to that in your chat, but it's been short notice, so maybe not. Gratitude for UUA support of youth and emerging adults. We thank the UUA for committing resources to supporting the life of youth and emerging adults in the association. We recognize that youth and emerging adults are critical parts of our association now, not only in the future, and that they give important perspectives. Moreover, we recognize that our faith calls us to recognize the gifts of leadership present in everyone, and ask the UUA to recommit to the full inclusion of youth and emerging adults at all levels of leadership, including the necessary support and leadership development. Supporting and investing in youth and young adults, and in particular, youth and young adults of color, in full participation in congregational life and in the life of the association is necessary for the continued growth and vitality of our living tradition. We also affirm that many youth and emerging adults face difficulties in participation, including a pattern of praising youth and young adults for their moral courage and prophetic vision, then dismissing their concerns. We ask that the UUA and that congregations work to more fully include the perspectives of youth and young adults, and to continue to be open to transformation. We now pause for 3 minutes. If you would like to be added to the pro or the concern line, please do that now in the chat. Please do not direct message me. Please instead message Lisa Cockburn.
All
As a reminder, our chat will be limited during this period. You should still be able, though, to use the chat to add yourself to the pro or concern queue. I recognize the delegate who submitted this responsive resolution, Carly Heckel of All Souls Church, Washington, D.C. Please put 15 minutes and, nope, not that long, 2 minutes and 15 seconds on our timer speaker clock.
Thank you. My name is Carly Heckel. I use she, her pronouns. I have the honor and the joy of representing All Souls Unitarian in Washington, D.C. this year. I am a young white woman with brown curly hair wearing a orange polka dot kind of shirt. So the kind of genesis of this resolution was that I contributed to our Synergy service this year, and it was really, really wonderful to work with our youth and emerging adult staff. Ember was fantastic to work with on the Synergy service. I got to work with Eric. I am getting more involved with that office, and I just want to really appreciate the work that they're doing and the fact that there is institutional support for these really important ministries. This resolution also recognizes that there is a lot of work to be done. We do need to go farther in the support for and the inclusion of youth and young adults and emerging adults in our congregations and in our association. Financial support for that is really, really important. Funding GA attendance, funding conferences and retreats, all of that really, really matters, particularly for youth and young adults of color. As the Commission on Institutional Change recommended, funding that is really, really important. And we need to do this work in order to have a growing living tradition. Our living tradition needs to be alive, and we make it alive by bringing in all of us. And we need to also commit to addressing the cultural barriers to the participation of our youth and emerging and young adults in our congregations. So many of us have had this experience of getting praised like, oh, thank you for your moral courage. Thank you for your prophetic vision. And then the institution doesn't act. And it becomes very, very frustrating. And that's the sort of thing that really, I think, discourages a lot of younger people from fully participating. And so really my goal with this resolution was to put the weight of the shared voice of this assembly behind supporting our youth and our young adults and our emerging adults, and to really commit as an association to making this and making these cultural changes and this financial support a priority for us as a faith and as an association. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carly. We turn next to our concern queue. Gordon Woodworth. Please reset our speaker clock for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Gordon?
Sorry, technical difficulty. Hi, I'm Gordon Woodworth. I am a delegate from the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Frederick, Maryland. Speaking out about this again, sort of reiterating what I've already said, I am hesitant to vote for this resolution because I don't want to sound too jaded, but I almost don't really believe it. I think that the conversation we should really be having as a denomination that affects this issue is really how are we dismantling white supremacy in our institutions? And I think a lot of the business that's gone on today has been a reflection of that. The fact that we can't get a resolution passed because we didn't dismantle the institution of white supremacy in our institutions. And now we're having this conversation about why aren't there young people here? Why aren't there more people of color here? It's the same question and the same answer. Even in the youth groups that the proposer mentioned, I have had encounters with as well and seen white supremacy be reflected there, and can see why there's not very many LGBTQ people and people of color involved in those organizations. And I just really feel like this is a lot of talking about ideals, but there's no bones here. So I really want to see actionable items and a plan on this issue rather than just a resolution saying, yes, we believe in this, because deeds, not creeds, as we would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. We turn now to our pro queue. Anna Hallett Gutierrez. Please, Anna?
Hello, my name is Anna Hallett Gutierrez. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a delegate representing the Unitarian Universalist Church of Loudoun. I'm a young white woman with long blonde hair. Today I am wearing a black t-shirt that says "Practice Reckless Optimism," as well as a gray cardigan. I'm speaking today in favor of this, in that I believe not only do we need to continue the work of uplifting our youth, emerging adults and young adults, but also to bring to the point that as we do this work, if we are focusing all of those emerging adults and young adults of today who maybe didn't have the same support that we are trying to get to the youth now, just that they should be supported just at the same level as the youth of today are with this kind of resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna. Right now, we have no speakers in our concern queue. If you would like to join that concern queue, now is the time. We'll hear from 2 more speakers from our pro queue before wrapping this conversation. First, Larry Works in our pro queue.
Thank you.
Larry?
My name is Larry Works. You can see me a little bit better. I am speaking on the pro line, but I'm very conflicted with this particular resolution. I grew up in UU congregation, Urbana, Illinois, and was LRY president in the time long past. I advocate for the youth as often as I can. We had an intern named Karishma Godfrey not so long ago who is now fellowshipped, who pulled the curtain aside for me a little bit and shared that the youth are here. The youth are here. They're present now. Let them in. Work with them. But I'm conflicted in that if this passes and there isn't sufficient additional programming for youth or attention to youth, a downvote of the optics of this will be seen by too many youth as UUA does not care about our youth. And that really bothers me because I know for myself, when I was in LRY, if that had come back from a GA, I would not have taken the time to see how and why that vote came about. I have too much going on in my life, but it's been very important to me to get involved and stay involved with youth. And I think that now I'm very conflicted that it doesn't contain any programming. We have to send a message, and yes, some will see it as only a message. So we have to back it up with funding. So we walk the walk so many youth say we are not doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Larry. We now do have a speaker in our concern line. I call on Charlotte Cardone. Please reset our speaker clock to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Charlotte?
Hi. I am speaking on the con line because I am also concerned about whether you actually will take action. I do want more action on this subject, and I really do hope that this is not actually an okay, we are just going to say we approve of this and stuff, but not actually do anything, since I experienced that last year when I was in person. And me and my youth group had not just acknowledge, but actually listen and not just say. I really hope that I can really see more action instead of just saying on the subject, as I was saying probably several times. And that is why I'm on the con line, since I'm still not 100% sure whether or not you will actually do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Let's move to our pro queue. Lori Lai. Please reset our timer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori Lai, a delegate from the First UU Society of San Francisco. I'm a senior Asian woman with she, her pronouns, black straight hair, brown glasses, and a blue polo shirt. I wanted to support this resolution and to note that the intersectionality of our UU youth should be considered. Demographically, the United States has more BIPOC youth than ever. We have seen more BIPOC youth, some of them LGBTQ+, checking out our UU faith in San Francisco, and possibly other parts of this country. It is helpful to recognize the contributions of our BIPOC youth and to support them in feeling that they belong in the UU faith, are respected, and their voices are heard, even if those voices are not congruent with the pervasive white supremacist culture. Financial support is important as are leadership development opportunities, mentorship, and community building. I support this resolution as a first step, and I look forward to more inclusive language in future resolutions that recognize the intersectionality of all people, including youth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori. We turn to our concern queue, Cody Lazary, as our speaker clock resets.
Hello, my name is Cody Lazary, pronouns EM or ZZM. I'm a white non-binary person with dark black hair pulled back in an undercut, and I'm wearing a dark gray t-shirt. I'm a new delegate and I'm a little bit nervous about speaking and whatever. So I'm a little bit concerned with, I'm in favor of the text, most of the text of this resolution. I'm a little bit concerned with the title and the first sentence about thanking the UUA, and then the rest of it seems to be like, we thank the UUA, but, right? And so it feels a little incongruent to me. Also, I missed most of this discussion because I was in the breakout room talking to parliamentarians, so my apologies if I'm covering things or saying something that is incorrect, but looking at the demographics of who has spoken, it looks like a lot of youth are not in favor of these two, like the majority that I've seen of the youth are not in favor of these two resolutions, but I could also be misinterpreting what I'm seeing. So yeah, also I did want to say in my description that I am in my 30s, so I'm not a youth, but I'm not that far from it. So anyway, but still not a youth. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Cody, and thank you for being a delegate. We now turn to our pro queue, Vivian Hay.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Vivian.
Great. My name's Vivian. I don't have my video on, so it's just a multicolor flag with an infinity sign in it. And I use they, them pronouns. I'm from UUSF. And I'm speaking in support of this resolution. I think it highlights something really important about, including young adults, not just praising their perspective, but actually including it. I would say that, in our congregation, young adults is 20s and 30s. And so I'm in that group. And it's been some of the moments that have encouraged me to stay in our congregation are at one point when the moderator of our board has been really supportive of an initiative I'm working on around what banners we have outside our church, as well as the human rights working group, including me in some talk that I gave. So I think that this resolution is important because it talks about the importance of really including the perspectives of young adults. I also wanted to address the concern folks had about whether you say the handoff or things being continuous or the idea of a cliff. I think even though I'm in support of this resolution, I think it can be problematic when funding ends, when people leave that certain designation of youth or young adult. Other congregations in the area use more of a cohort model. So you could be, for example, part of a millennial cohort, which would follow you throughout your lifetime rather than aging out of a youth or young adult program. So I just wanted to highlight that as one issue I'm concerned of aging out of young adult programming. But overall, I do support this resolution. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. We have no more speakers in our concern queue, and a little less than 2 minutes in our pro queue. Let's hear from our last speaker in our pro queue, Anya Smith, and reset that speaker clock for the full 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Thank you. Anja Smith.
Sorry, I had the mute on my headphones on. Can you hear me now? Okay, beautiful. Hi, my name is Anya Smith. I am a representative from West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church in Cleveland, Ohio. I am a white, brown-haired trans woman wearing a collection of necklaces and a shirt that is not clearly visible, but that is tie-dyed in the trans pride colors of pink, blue, and white. I'm speaking in support of this. As someone who grew up in the Mormon congregation, coming to the UUs fairly recently, one of the things that has stood out to me is the separation I have experienced between the children and the youth and the adults. And I feel like addressing that is a crucial way to help deal with the problems and we have to walk the talk, but we have to start by talking the talk first. And calling out and acknowledging the importance of the youth is an important first step as to more fully integrate them into the life of the congregation rather than having this, you go off to religious education and the adults do their thing and ne'er the twain shall meet unless you're a parent. And so I just want to again, speak in support and also encourage folks in your congregations more broadly to look at how we are integrating the youth, the emerging adults, and all that into building a broader multi-generational congregation and faith structure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anya. Thank you all for that discussion. The ballot for both of these responsive resolutions will be open after this general session. Let's take a break for some music. Here's Dr. Young M. Lee Federley again on piano.
Welcome back, everyone. Once again, here is co-financial advisor Chris Chappell with this session's process observation.
Actually, it is the Reverend Justine Sullivan providing the process observation, but I work closely with Chris Chappell, who is my colleague in this effort. I am the Reverend Justine Sullivan. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and I serve our congregation in San Diego as developmental lead minister. I'm also a proud, nearly 30-year member of First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church in Northborough, Massachusetts. I'm a white woman in my early 60s with brown and gray hair, and I'm wearing a bright fuchsia-colored shirt and multicolored glasses. The session, a very rich session today. We began with an acknowledgement that at times our co-moderators acknowledged that instructions could be clearer, and they have made a commitment to continue to work for increasing clarity, and also a call for us to engage one another with grace and mutual respect. And I saw evidence of both throughout our time together. There were interjections of helpful information when it seemed like that would be helpful. And also, I just appreciated that people held one another with care, making good use of technology with the heart emojis as people were speaking, especially if someone acknowledged that they were nervous. I just appreciated seeing how we care for one another. Let's see. Deep appreciation for those who spoke against the Delaney Hall AIW, taking care to acknowledge the good intent of the proposer, but asking that folks honor the ongoing coordinated work that is happening currently, and calling that love into deep relationship was a phrase that jumped out at me. There were real questions about our commitment to procedure, sometimes taking precedence, it seems, over relationship, and in so doing, we can perpetuate harm and really center white supremacy culture. And the question before us really is, can we do better? The co-moderator acknowledged that our procedures can sometimes be an impediment to us doing what it is that we truly wish to do. And that is why we are engaging in a deep review of our current bylaws. And I think really do make an ongoing commitment to doing this better. I heard deeply thoughtful reflection in the discussion of the responsive resolutions, in particular lifting up the need to think about intersectionality with regard to overlapping identities among youth and young adult members. I heard pain and disappointment with regard to our inability to really include the voices of youth and young adults more fully. And I also heard some mistrust and some wariness among younger folks that we will in fact be able to make meaningful change. And from the heart emojis that floated up over the screen, it does seem that speakers' concerns were heard and held with care. A number of folks have expressed difficulty in accessing their credentials as delegates in order to vote during the allotted time. I suspect that the shift in schedule, with much of the business happening early during GA, has maybe exacerbated that problem. We are aware of this and are bringing this feedback back to our GA planners to see how we can accommodate that concern or address that concern. As always, we invite you to share your feedback directly in the process observation form that will appear on your screen at the end of this session. That allows our GA planners and facilitators a more complete sense of how things are working and not working. And you can see the QR code and the link appearing on your screen now. And we'll leave this up for another 15 seconds or so before we move on. Thank you for the opportunity to share in this way, and thank you for attending to one another so carefully and with such love. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine, for your observations. And now let's turn to Trustee Emily Coriath for closing words.
Hello, beloved Unitarian Universalists. I'm Dr. Emily Coriath, a member of your UUA Board of Trustees. I'm a white woman with curly brown hair and glasses, and I serve as the music director at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder, Colorado. I use she, her pronouns. Will you take a breath with me? See if you can invite yourself back into your body. Blessed. Sacred. A million scientific things held together by miracle and mystery. Take a breath with me. See if you can be grateful for this gathered body, scattered across this hurting nation, united in the work of our faith and our desire to cling to one another and the roots of our living tradition. Take a breath with me. See if you can feel into our collective wholeness. Weary, certainly. Broken open, not broken apart. May your rest be nourishing and your love be never ending. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for those words, Emily. And now we're at our announcements and recess. I did want to mention something, though, that some of you are probably already aware of. It's an evolving situation in Minnesota where a number of UUs are involved. Today, 15 people were charged over alleged interference in the Minnesota immigration crackdown. And prosecutors claim the defendants were part of a Minneapolis Antifa group that violently opposed law enforcement. And there have been arrests today. A number of UUs, both locally and UUA staff, are involved in the situation. And it's a developing situation, which we wanted you to be aware of. So thank you. The ballot for General Session 4 is available on the delegate platform, and it will include, after the session, the AIWs and the responsive resolutions. The ballot will be available until 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, 1 p.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Alaska, 10 a.m. Hawaii today. Just so we're clear, that is approximately 2 hours and 34 minutes from right now. Once voting is complete, we'll validate the results, post them on the delegate platform, and announce them at the beginning of General Session 5. Thank you for your thoughtfulness, care, and conviction you've brought to today's work. We look forward to gathering with you again for our final business session. There being no further business to come before us.
I'm so sorry. Bill, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I just want to clarify that people have 1 hour and 30 odd minutes to get those ballots in.
Correct. Thank you, Kimberly. That's one of the nice things of having a co-moderator, actually, is we're able to do this. So anyway, there being no further business to come before us, in accordance with the schedule set forth in your program, I declare that this fourth general session of General Assembly 2026 shall remain in recess until 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Alaska, and 11 a.m. Hawaii time. And you have 1 hour and 32 minutes to complete your ballots for this general session. See you soon.